This is the footage of Lil Jeff that everyone believed would seal the case against his alleged shooter, Trap City Rob. Yet, less than 24 hours after his arrest, the man who had shared the grim details of the shooting walked free. Now, investigators think they may have struck gold. Recent court filings hint at a game-changing revelation. Rumors are swirling that critical footage has finally come to light. Could this be the key piece of evidence that turns the entire case on its head? The speculation has been intense, and the circumstances surrounding Lil Jeff's untimely death have left countless unanswered questions. From the outset, the CPD's investigation has sought to pin down the person responsible for his killing, but now, a single court document might shift everything. Those court papers tied to charges against Robert Coleman, known as Trap City Rob, assert that the Chicago Police Department has probable cause to arrest Rob. Not only was he identified at the scene by an eyewitness, but electronic surveillance also placed him there during the shooting of Jeffrey L. Harris. While police have yet to officially release the footage from that fateful day, viral surveillance clips that swept across social media allegedly show the moment Lil Jeff was fatally shot. The footage seems to capture him while carrying out a hit on another individual, marking a chilling twist in a case that might now be closer to a conclusion. The video opens with Lil Jeff stepping out of a vehicle, gun in hand, and immediately firing several shots at a man wearing yellow shorts. Police scanner recordings reveal that the man was struck in the chest, but he still managed to retreat into a nearby building. Determined to finish what he started, Lil Jeff follows, continuing to fire as he moves. But just as he reaches the doorway, shots erupt from inside the building, sending him tumbling down the steps to the ground. A second camera angle captures another view of the chaotic scene. This footage shows 3 individuals accompanying Jeff, standing by as the shooter stands over him and empties the magazine into his fallen body. According to reports, Lil Jeff was hit a total of 19 times, leaving no chance for survival. Meanwhile, another piece of footage focuses on a man in a pink outfit, later identified as Q50, who appears to shoot at a vehicle passing the scene. At first glance, his actions seem random, but upon reviewing the initial footage, it's clear that the man in yellow shorts had been speaking with someone inside the car moments before Jeff opened fire on him. After the vehicle speeds off, Q50 and another man dressed in all black direct their shots toward the building where Lil Jeff fell. Gunfire rings out in both directions, and the footage captures Q50 limping, possibly injured in the crossfire, as he retreats toward a getaway vehicle. As they prepare to leave, the driver briefly exits the car, apparently realizing there's no hope of helping Lil Jeff. The group then speeds away, leaving Jeff's body behind on the building's front porch. However, after circling the area, Q50 and another individual return. In a grim turn of events, they collect Lil Jeff's body and transport him to the hospital. A photo soon emerged online, showing Q50 and another man carrying Lil Jeff's lifeless body. This image seemed to confirm widespread reports of Jeff's death. However, the identity of the shooter remained elusive in the available surveillance footage. Still, sources claimed the assailant stood over Jeff's body, firing point-blank shots, potentially in clear view of witnesses. This could explain the court's claim that an eyewitness placed Trap City Rob at the scene. In the days following the shooting, Reddit users began connecting the dots, naming Trap City Rob as Lil Jeff's killer after an old video surfaced. The clip showed Rob sitting on the front porch of the building where Jeff was gunned down, casually smoking weed. While Rob never explicitly admitted to the crime, he appeared to validate fan suspicions during a June 2024 interview. In that interview, he confirmed that the house where the shooting took place belonged to his grandmother. Rob's statement seemed to settle any doubts about his presence at the scene. He revealed that on that day, they were ambushed by 6 individuals, including Lil Jeff. When asked to address the swirling social media rumors, Rob acknowledged the frenzy surrounding the footage of Jeff's death. Fans quickly spun the narrative, hailing Rob as a defender who stood up to someone they saw as a dangerous figure. The internet buzzed with praise, even dubbing Rob the Defensive Player of the Year for protecting his friend in a critical moment. Rob's own statement, that they were ambushed by 6 attackers, effectively placed him at the scene and implied he acted in self-defense. Despite this, and the evidence seemingly pointing toward Rob as Jeff's killer, some fans have clung to the belief that Rob wasn't present at the time. They argue that he's being scapegoated in a desperate bid to avoid a murder conviction. The absence of any footage clearly showing the shooter has fueled the defense from Trap City loyalists, who maintain there's no direct proof tying Rob to the fatal shots. Although court documents initially charged Trap City Rob with first-degree murder, those charges were dropped due to insufficient evidence. Instead, Rob was charged with unlawful possession of a handgun. These amended charges sparked debate among fans on Reddit. Some expressed frustration that Rob still faced legal trouble despite, in their view, acting in self-defense. The Jeff situation proves that having a gun around was necessary to stay safe, one user argued. But it doesn't matter, you're stuck choosing between dying or saving yourself and sitting in prison for years. Another agreed, writing, "I don't think the guy should be charged at all. He defended himself and that's what counts. He wasn't hurting anyone otherwise." Not everyone agreed, however. One commenter emphasized the importance of following legal channels, saying, "This is why you need to own a gun legally, go to a gun store, get a license, and avoid all the legal headaches." Amid the ongoing controversy, it has been confirmed that Rob is currently in jail, likely facing the single count of armed habitual criminal filed against him by the Chicago Police Department. One Reddit user claimed that Rob was arrested at the very location where Lil Jeff lost his life. Apparently, he was caught with a firearm, leading to his armed habitual criminal charge. However, before heading to jail, Rob shared a brief snippet where he unleashed a sharp diss toward Lil Jeff and his associates. In the clip, Rob is seen in a recording studio, delivering some cutting lines. "Don't fall, you better not trip, I just watched him slip, this shit is not a game, better get a grip." While he didn't name names, the lyrics suggest he's referring to Lil Jeff's attempt to confront him and his crew, a move that ultimately ended with Jeff gunned down on Rob's porch. Before that diss even hit YouTube, members of Trap City, including Rob, escalated their feud with the Bloodhounds by sharing a shockingly disrespectful video. In this reenactment of Jeff's death, Trap City members walked toward Rob's front porch, where one of them mimicked the moment Jeff fell after taking multiple bullets. The stage scene fueled tensions further. In response, Jeff's father, Jeffrey Harris, issued a chilling warning on Facebook, declaring the conflict far from over. "Y'all didn't get him. He came trying to get y'all, and what happened happened," Harris wrote. "But the saga continues. Clear the streets." Since that statement, numerous lives on both sides have been lost, and the cycle of violence shows no signs of slowing. This bitter rivalry between Trap City and Drill City wasn't always so intense, though. The escalating bloodshed begs the question, how did this war begin? For years, the deadly clashes between these two factions have left a trail of tragedy. Lil Jeff played a central role in sparking the conflict, and while some believed his death might bring the violence to a halt, it's only fueled more devastation. Tragically, many of those caught in the crossfire of this ongoing rivalry have been very young, with most victims barely out of their teens. Lil Jeff himself was only 21 when he was violently killed. Before exploring the roots of the conflict between these two Chicago street gangs, it's important to understand who they are. Drill City, also known as the Bloodhounds, is a predominantly African-American street gang operating primarily around 79th Street and Maryland Avenue in Chicago. Known for their brazen robberies and shootings, they've gained infamy by incorporating these crimes into their music. Their notoriety has left them with few allies and personal grudges against other Chicago street gangs, most notably BKN and Trap City. For this story, the focus will remain on their dispute with Trap City. In contrast, Trap City is a set of mostly gangster disciples who claim territory from 67th to 69th Streets, stretching from St. Lawrence to Cottage Grove. They maintain a strong alliance with C.W. Bass, a partnership that has solidified their influence in the area over recent years. Historically, Trap City and the Bloodhounds were once on good terms. Old photos even show members of both gangs socializing, including an image of Trap City Taro, Bloodhound Lil Jeff, and Bloodhound Q50 together before tensions arose. But relations soured in early 2023, reportedly sparked by Lil Jeff stealing a Trap City member's chain. At first, these accusations appeared as social media rumors. However, during a July 2024 interview, Trap City members Taro and Rob confirmed the theft. They detailed how the Bloodhounds were once allies until Jeff took off with the chain of one of their comrades. As Rob recounted, "Just Tookie stole my own chain." The chain's value must have been significant, as it incensed Trap City enough to retaliate by killing Lil Jeff's cousin, Zir Nelson, known as KZ Money, on March 16, 2023. Nelson, who was just 22, suffered such a vicious attack that doctors stopped counting his bullet wounds after 29. Along with being a relative of Lil Jeff, Nelson was deeply connected to several Bloodhound members. His death was perceived as a direct strike against the entire group, intensifying the already simmering tensions. For Lil Jeff, the loss was personal and devastating. His quest for revenge spiraled into a cycle of violence, leading to multiple fatalities. Before the Bloodhounds could retaliate, Trap City struck again, injuring Q50 with a gunshot wound. Fortunately for Q50, the injury wasn't severe, and he made a swift recovery. It wasn't long before he and Lil Jeff took to Instagram, where they rapped about the incident. In the video, Q50 rapped, "Shot me in my leg, next month I shot his throat." Lil Jeff added, "They shot my cousin but ain't kill him. For a week straight we was spinning. But the only difference is when we caught him, we killed him." Q50's verse alluded to the fatal shooting of 19-year-old Jal Goss, also known as Al within the Trap City fold. Al was gunned down while sitting in a rideshare on June 25, 2023. The shooting took place around 8:55 p.m. in the 1300 block of West Taylor Street. Police reports detailed the chilling sequence. Al sat in the vehicle when someone approached, shot him through the window, and fled the scene. The rideshare driver, Robert Smith, attempted to save Al's life, rushing him to Rush University Medical Center. Sadly, the effort wasn't enough. Al was pronounced dead. Reflecting on the harrowing moment, Smith told the Sun-Times, "I tried to save him. I didn't care about traffic lights or speed cameras. I just wanted him to survive. I prayed the whole way there," the driver said, recalling the desperate attempt to get Al to the hospital. "When they took him out of the car, I prayed the surgeons would do everything they could." While Chicago law enforcement struggled to track down the shooter and dismissed it as another unsolved murder, the streets buzzed with speculation. It wasn't long before Lil Jeff took to Instagram, all but confirming his involvement. In a live broadcast, Jeff flashed a gun and declared, "Go ask my ops that Michael Drake his. Think he can get out that car." After claiming the hit on Al, Lil Jeff turned his trolling up a notch. When Trap City Tarot shared a photo mourning Al's death, captioning it with the heartfelt words, "I wish I could get it back," Jeff responded by dropping a mocking care emoji on the post. And he wasn't finished. During another live stream, he reenacted the murder. The rapper approached a white car parked at a gas station and mimicked shooting through the passenger window, just as it had reportedly happened when Al was killed. 2 months later, on August 31, 2024, Lil Jeff and Q50 allegedly targeted Trap City Glenn. This attack left Glenn riddled with 15 bullets, yet somehow he survived. In a rap following the incident, Q50 claimed he shot Glenn 10 times, while Jeff reportedly hit him 5 times. For a brief time, the violence seemed to die down, but Lil Jeff's obsession with eliminating Glenn didn't waver. Over 6 months after the first attempt, Lil Jeff's group returned to Trap City's turf, determined to finish what they had started. It's been reported that the man in yellow shorts, whom Lil Jeff was chasing, was Glenn, the target from an earlier failed murder attempt. This second confrontation went disastrously wrong, ultimately leading to Lil Jeff's death and cutting short a life filled with violence and notoriety. While his feud with Trap City may have led to his downfall, it was his earlier clashes with a different gang that solidified his reputation and brought him infamy. The double homicide that catapulted Lil Jeff into the spotlight involved the tragic deaths of 2 teenage boys, aged 16 and 17. Known as Lil Rob and Monty, these young lives were snuffed out on January 26, 2024, just outside their school. On what should have been a routine lunch break, the students of Innovations High School found themselves caught in a deadly ambush. Lil Rob and Monty, walking near the Washington Wabash station, were suddenly confronted by armed, masked assailants. A dark blue Infiniti SUV had followed the pair, and upon identifying their targets, 3 men jumped out and opened fire. The assault lasted around 15 seconds, sending bystanders scattering in panic. Sadly, Lil Rob and Monty had no escape. They were shot multiple times in critical areas and stood no chance of survival. After the attack, the masked gunmen hurried back into their vehicle and fled, speeding away onto the Stevenson Expressway before eventually disappearing into South suburban Dolton in Calumet City. After the gunmen fled, a crowd gathered around the victims. Some attempted to help, while others simply screamed at the sight of their grave injuries. Lil, Rob, and Monty were eventually rushed to the hospital, but it was too late. Both were pronounced dead. In the aftermath of this tragedy, Lil Jeff made no effort to hide his satisfaction. Though it's not uncommon for Chicago drill rappers to celebrate the deaths of rivals, Lil Jeff's reaction was particularly brazen. Before the victims' bodies had even grown cold, he posted a video mocking their demise. His gloating wasn't just a show of bravado, it also bordered on self-incrimination. In the clip, Lil Jeff is seen riding in a car with two companions, all of them wearing masks and black clothing remarkably similar to what the masked assailants were wearing at the scene of the attack. While jamming to music, Jeff eventually pulls off his mask, proudly revealing himself to the audience as if to confirm his role in the incident. The video drew mixed reactions from fans and onlookers. Some celebrated Jeff's boldness, with one commenter writing, "Man, I know he was hyped. He caught them. It be like that, especially when they were trolling." Others expressed shock at his level of confidence and recklessness. Another user remarked, "This was blatant." But the controversy didn't end there. Just weeks later, Lil Jeff returned to the studio to drop a new track titled Ah, where he seemingly rapped about the events. According to his lyrics, they did what they did and they had to pay the consequence. Lil Jeff had always claimed that Lil, Rob, and Monty weren't just innocent bystanders. Just before their deaths, he took to a live stream to accuse them of plotting against him. According to Jeff, the teens had planned to rob him during a hangout, and not only did they succeed, but they also teamed up with 5 other individuals, attacking Jeff before fleeing. This allegation gained traction when videos of Monty surfaced online, adding fuel to the fire. In the clips, Monty and a friend openly taunted Lil Jeff and the Bloodhounds. They mocked Jeff while flaunting a pair of wristwatches and a neck chain, laughing as they declared the jewelry to be fake. To make matters worse, they pointed guns at the camera, turning their taunts into a very real provocation. Regardless of how the feud began or the boldness of the teenagers' actions, many fans argued that their deaths were still an unnecessarily brutal outcome. Unlike previous murders associated with Lil Jeff that remained unresolved, the double homicide case finally saw progress. Authorities identified Lil Jeff as one of the killers after a tipster flagged a video he had posted just minutes after the crime. The footage revealed Jeff riding in the same blue Infiniti SUV used during the attack. A year after the murders, police made their first arrest. Tommy Coleman, 22, was taken into custody in January in the 5700 block of North Mason Avenue. After establishing his involvement, law enforcement charged Coleman with 2 felony counts of first-degree murder, as well as counts of attempted first-degree murder, aggravated discharge of a firearm from a vehicle, and possession of a firearm by a felon. Coleman, who was also cited for failing to register the weapon, appeared in court a few days later. Prosecutors alleged that Coleman and 2 other accomplices had a long-standing dispute with the victims. They also noted that one of the masked gunmen involved, identified as Lil Jeff, had died in June 2024 during another violent incident. Another accomplice, James Allison, a 20-year-old student at Innovations High School, was arrested just days after Coleman. Like his co-defendant, Allison faced multiple charges, including 2 counts of first-degree murder, attempted murder, aggravated discharge of a firearm, and aggravated unlawful possession of a weapon. While Lil Jeff never faced official charges for the double homicide due to the case's previous lack of evidence, his violent lifestyle caught up with him. In a tragic twist, his pursuit of revenge ended when he was fatally shot by a member of Trap City during a high-stakes chase.